Today we're going to present you the new concept Tanzu Service Mesh, where it fit into the entire CNC app cloud native solution that VMware come up with, the Tanzu. So have a look at the first slide and we start with the presentation. So this is a disclaimer. Okay, so where we come up with, why we introduce Tanzu Service Mesh, this is the context. So application transformations become more and more challenging for all of the enterprises, all the customer facing right now, coming from the traditional virtual machine, let's say, from the monolithic application to the microservices applications based on the cloud native we've been talking all day long. How are we gonna make this journey for the transitions easy and more agile for customer can move from the traditional one to the new microservices approach from the day zero, day one, day two operation, like we just said. That's where we come from, and we came up with the solutions. Tanzu Service Mesh. It's based on Service Mesh that you know, like type of issue and Android at the data plane and issue at the control plane. Now, VMware step further, add into services called Tanzu Service Mesh as the enterprise class of the Service Mesh vision. We're bringing all the resiliencies, all the security needed for the application running across any cloud. Make sure your CI/CD pipeline still running in multiple platforms and multiple clouds in a federated way. We give you a single pane of glass, a central place for the control and remediations, bring in the global policies, allow you to one single click, you can control end-to-end and apply policy from user, services, and data. What I mean user, that's how about multiple users can share the same environment. We come up with concept, how we manage all the users, make sure they can run all the services managed and all the data consistently across multiple clouds. And you also can do a central place where you can do the full visibility, full audits and compliance without no change in the application. That is Tanzu Service Mesh from VMware. Let's start with the demo, right? So in this here we have the two environments, each running on-prem, which is data center 1 and data center 2. They're all connected together. And on top of that, you have AWS. We have some workload running AWS on region East and region West. And then we go and deploy Kubernetes on-prem, which is NSX, or with Entria, which is our open source from VMware CNI. And the other one, we can use a third-party vendors, whatever CNI. That's the environment. We can use EKS on AWS and other environment like Azure. We do support on-kind Kubernetes running on top. So we have called a C1, C2, C3, and C4. And we tie together with Tanzu Mission Control. We go and deploy and control all of the policies in terms of compute and storage. And on top of that, you can use TKG. And in this case, we use Tanzu Service Mesh to control the networking plumbing across multiple clouds. Like Susan just mentioned, the notion of GNS, global namespace, group them together in the logical construct, building on top of Kubernetes and push the policy directly to the every single cluster wherever we need it. So based on the need of applications, you see how it looks in the real GUI of the Tanzu Service Mesh, which is in the next slide. Yeah, so when you log into Kubernetes, you have whatever there are one master and two worker nodes running, and you see it, Entria on being deployed as a CNI plugin. The other one we can use for on-type and CNI. And that's the typical environment of a Kubernetes running. And then we deploy as a new namespace, you see the VMware system TMC with Tanzu Mission Control. And at the end, you see you have Tanzu Service Mesh running on top, which is another namespace called VMware system TSM, Tanzu Service Mesh at the end. And then we deploy issue by Tanzu Service Mesh on every single cluster. And here we have Andrea, like you said, been running on 3 different nodes. And at the end, have a look at here, you have TMC. The way it's working, we just run one YAML file and on the GUI and on the left side, you see in Tanzu Service Mesh. Basically, you go and onboard a new cluster and then go and deploy the issue and the control plane to every single node. So let's go and add a new onboard new cluster. So here you just go and type the name and you go and generate the token to make sure that the right person who can be logging. So there are two YAML files. One create the token for security token. The other one is just apply the YAML file is go and deploy the new namespace and then install issue at the end right after that. You see, when you finish, you go install Tanzu Service Mesh issue.
That's the version of VMware from the issue, and we add a couple more services on top of that as well. Just exit because we ran it, just exit, and then we see the next one. Just go skip it, and then when you onboard the cluster, it shows up in Tanzu Service Mesh. This is the GUI, the main GUI. You see all the KPI, you can see it, all the SLA, SLO services, the performance key matrix. So one cluster is one box. And in this box, we have 12 services, 12 instances, and then we have the front end, the back end. And this is the Acme Finnet, which is the application we built by VMware. Basically, it's just a simulated shopping cart. And people go on the e-commerce shopping. You can have the front end, the back end, and then all the shopping services. You have some comment on that, Suzanne? Because you see all the KPI, we can go around and click on the heat map, and all the services shows up in the real time. And then we click on the cloud services, the users, all the performance key matrix all running in the real time based on the traffic coming. So basically everything gonna be upload and showing in here. Now, what we show in here after that, we show the GNS, the concept Suzanne just mentioned, how you group multiple cluster in different environment, could be on-prem, could be on EKS, AKS, or any environment, group them together and apply the policy or apply the MTLS with the incursion on top. So we see that we create a new namespace and we put all the criteria. This is the demo.acme.com, which is the 2 app we just showed earlier. And we group them together by the namespace. Here I take the default namespace on one side, and we choose the Acme node with the other side, and we group them together in the big giant called global namespace. And then we apply the encryption on top in the next step. You see it. And click next, again, and it takes you to the encryption and security tab. Susan, go ahead.
Hi, Tuan. We have a few in the room, but so far no questions. But if you have any questions, feel free to chat them. Yeah. I do not believe you have audio. So, the attendees don't have access to audio.
Yeah, the beauty when you group them together on global namespace, that's make easier, single panel class tied up, and we can apply the policies, control everything end to end instead of going to multiple places and implement your Kubernetes policies, rules, and everything. Now a single panel class and one single place, you can see the whole workload running, whatever your application running on-prem or in the cloud or in any environment where TKG can be deployed as well as a new Kubernetes offering by Tanzu and VMware.
The quick demo you just saw, and we can even do more than that. We can bring a policy framework. We do end-to-end actions more than just apply the simple policy. We can do much more than that, and more features coming along next year and eventually here this year as well. So, and then we can do the federations. We can do the interoperability service mesh in the community projects, and that is the TMC, which you just saw at the end of the demo, how TSM connect with TMC, allow you to have the full lifecycle management from the IAM lifecycle policy operations, on-cloud compliance across multiple clouds, across multiple environments, and no matter where your application is running. And this is the full portfolio of TMC, how you attach, how you provision services, and the cool thing here, the connectivity we just saw, how we connect with Tanzu Service Mesh, and we can optimize that. We can send it to Wayfront or Cloud Health. We can give more visibility along the line. So Tanzu Mission Control have single pane of glass to manage everything, and Tanzu Service Mesh is the single pane of glass for networking. And this is the demo topology you just saw earlier, so I make it a little bit nicer, so how you see that. So that's the way we connect all the dots together in Tanzu Service Mesh, in the center of the universe of networking. That's it. And to conclude, this is the full portfolio of VMware Tanzu. So where Tanzu Service Mesh and Tanzu Mission Control is the managed site in the day 2 operations kind of. And on day 1 and day 0, we have a lot of products, a lot of solutions that VMware come up with the entire end-to-end portfolio from day 0, day 1, and day 2 operations, helping you to how easily to build the application, how easily you can run the application, how easily you can manage all of that in one single place. This is VMware Tanzu portfolio, where Tanzu Service Mesh is the central place for the networking plumbing. Thanks for watching. That's the end of the demo. Yep. The end. Thank you. And that's the full picture of NSX. We are number 1 on the market. We offering that. So Tanzu Service Mesh is part of networking and security business unit from VMware. Thank you very much for watching.